Tragedy has struck the family of one of hip-hop's biggest icons. Snoop Dogg's youngest daughter, Cori Broadus, has revealed the heartbreaking death of her 10-month-old daughter, Codi, a child who had spent nearly her entire life in the hospital. How did this tiny life touch the lives of her famous family? And how is Snoop Dogg coping with a loss no parent should ever face? In this video, we'll dive deep into the devastating story, the personal struggle behind the headlines, and the emotional response that's shaking fans worldwide. Stay tuned. What comes next will move you in ways headlines can't. The world knows Snoop Dogg as a music legend, an icon of hip-hop, and a larger-than-life personality. But behind the fame, his family has faced moments of unimaginable heartache. On January 31st, Cori Broadus, Snoop's youngest daughter, shared devastating news. Her 10-month-old daughter, Codi, had passed away after spending nearly her entire life in the hospital. In this video, we're going beyond social media posts and headlines. We're unpacking the timeline of events leading up to this tragedy, the emotional aftermath for Cori and Snoop Dogg, and how the family is coping in a situation most of us cannot even imagine. You'll hear verified details, the context of Codi's prolonged hospital stay, and Snoop Dogg's heartfelt public response to his granddaughter's death. We'll also explore the unseen pressures and emotional challenges of raising a child with health complications in the public eye, the role of family support in moments of crisis, and how tragedy affects even the most famous households. By the end of this video, you'll have a full understanding of what the family has endured, why the story resonates far beyond celebrity news, and the lessons it teaches about grief, resilience, and love. But as we start this journey, one question lingers. How does a family face such a profound loss when millions of eyes are watching? The answer is both heartbreaking and deeply human. On January 31st, Cori Broadus shared heartbreaking news with the world. Her 10-month-old daughter, Codi, had passed away. The baby had spent nearly her entire life in the hospital, fighting battles that no parent should ever have to witness. Cori's post on Instagram stories was brief but devastating, and it quickly spread across social media, drawing an outpouring of support from fans and celebrities alike. Codi was brought home from the hospital earlier that month after spending 10 months under intensive medical care. For nearly a year, Cori and her family had navigated the emotional and physical toll of a critically ill infant. Every day was a mix of hope and uncertainty, love and fear, a reality that few could fully understand even for someone raised in the spotlight. Fans were shocked not only by the tragedy itself, but by the fact that the family had been keeping much of Codi's medical journey private. Cori had only shared occasional updates about her daughter's condition, making this revelation all the more gut-wrenching. Social media erupted with messages of support, condolences, and prayers, highlighting how deeply this story touched people worldwide. The emotional weight on Cori was immense. Losing a child is often described as one of the most painful experiences a human being can endure. For Cori, who had endured the daily stress of hospital visits, doctors' updates, and the hope of finally bringing Codi home, the loss was compounded by public attention. Every moment of grief became a public moment, a reality that added pressure to an already devastating situation. But Cori was not alone in this struggle. One figure, in particular, immediately stepped up to offer support, comfort, and love in the face of this tragedy. Her father, Snoop Dogg. His response, both on social media and privately, would reveal the deep bond he shares with his family and show a side of the hip-hop legend rarely seen by the public. And while Snoop Dogg's reaction brought some comfort, the story of Codi's life, her time in the hospital, and the family's journey leading up to this heartbreaking moment is far more complex than most headlines convey. The next chapter uncovers exactly what the family endured during those 10 months, and the remarkable courage Cori displayed as a mother. Codi's story was one of unimaginable struggle from the very beginning. Born into a world that should have been full of giggles, first steps, and baby milestones, she instead spent almost her entire life inside hospital walls. According to reports, Codi required intensive medical care from birth, fighting health complications that demanded constant monitoring and round-the-clock attention. For Cori Broadus, these 10 months were a roller coaster of hope, fear, and resilience. Every day brought new challenges: medical procedures, consultations with doctors, moments of improvement followed by setbacks. For most parents, even a single hospital visit can be overwhelming. For Cori, this became a full-time reality. She had to balance hope with harsh realities, all while under the scrutiny of fans who follow every moment of her life on social media. Despite the emotional and physical strain, Cori never wavered in her dedication to her daughter. She shared glimpses of her bond with Codi, from soothing her during treatments to celebrating small victories, like taking her home for the first time after months in the hospital. That moment, which should have been filled with joy and relief, became bittersweet. Cody's health remained fragile, and the family knew that every day at home would require vigilance, care, and emotional fortitude. What makes this story even more heartrending is the contrast between the joy of bringing a child home and the looming fear of losing them. Many parents experience moments of panic when transitioning a child from hospital to home care, but for Cori, this fear was compounded by her public profile. Every update, every social media post was shared not just with family and friends, but with thousands of followers, all watching, all hoping for good news. Through it all, Snoop Dogg played a pivotal role. As a grandfather, he offered unwavering support, not only emotionally, but also publicly, sharing messages of love and encouragement. His Instagram post following the announcement of Cody's passing reflected the grief, pride, and deep familial bond that only a parent or grandparent can fully understand. It was a reminder that even in the world of celebrity, the pain of losing a child transcends status, wealth, or fame. But even with family support and public sympathy, the weight of this loss is profound. The next chapter explores how Snoop Dogg responded in the wake of this tragedy, the ways he honored his granddaughter, supported his daughter, and confronted grief in the public eye. The story of this father-daughter-grandchild bond reveals emotional layers most fans never get to see. When news of Cody's passing broke, fans quickly turned to social media, searching for any sign of how Snoop Dogg, the legendary rapper and public figure, was coping with the loss of his granddaughter. While Snoop is often seen in the spotlight performing, creating, or making headlines, this moment showed a side of him rarely captured by cameras: the grieving father and devoted grandfather. Snoop Dogg shared a heartfelt post on Instagram expressing his sorrow and support for Cori. Though brief, the message was powerful, a mix of grief, love, and solidarity. In his caption, Snoop acknowledged the pain of losing a child, honored the life of his granddaughter, and reassured his daughter that she was not alone in her grief. Fans described the post as raw, emotional, and deeply human, a stark contrast to the larger-than-life persona the world often associates with the rapper. Beyond social media, sources close to the family revealed that Snoop has been a constant presence for Cori. He reportedly spent long hours at her side, providing both emotional comfort and guidance. For Cori, having her father present during such a painful time meant having someone who not only understood the unique pressures of growing up in the public eye, but also someone who could offer wisdom, patience, and love without judgment. What makes this situation even more poignant is the contrast between Snoop's public image and the private reality of family loss. The world knows him as a music icon, a pop culture figure, and a performer whose life is full of energy and spectacle. Yet here he is, stripped of all that, facing a situation no one can prepare for, helping a daughter navigate the death of her own child. It's a role that no celebrity persona can protect you from, no fame can cushion. This public-private duality also highlights the pressures Cori herself faced. Not only was she grieving the death of her daughter, but she also had to process it in a world where followers, fans, and media outlets were watching every update. Snoop's guidance helped her manage both, mourning in private while maintaining dignity in public. It's a reminder that grief, even for the most famous families, is profoundly human and universally challenging. And yet, despite the pain, the family found moments of connection, remembrance, and tribute. Friends, relatives, and fans began sharing memories and photos of baby Codi, highlighting the brief but meaningful life she led. Each tribute, whether in a comment, a post, or a personal message, served as a reminder of the love surrounding Cori and her daughter, even in the midst of tragedy. But the story doesn't end here. Behind the public posts and Instagram captions, there is a larger conversation about the challenges of parenting a critically ill child, the emotional toll it takes on families, and the resilience required to carry on. The next section delves into the broader impact this loss has had on Cori, Snoop, and their extended family, and the lessons we can learn about strength, healing, and the bonds that hold families together in their darkest moments. The death of Codi has left an undeniable mark on the Broadus family. For Cori, the loss of her daughter is a trauma that will stay with her for life. Losing a child is one of the most profound forms of grief, and for a parent, it shakes every sense of identity, hope, and emotional stability. For Cori, this grief was compounded by the public nature of her life. Every post, every update, and every response from fans became a reminder that millions were watching as she navigated one of the most painful experiences imaginable. Snoop Dogg's role in the family during this time has been pivotal. As a father and grandfather, he has taken on the responsibility of holding the family together, while also processing his own grief. Sources close to the family describe him as being unwavering in his support, offering both emotional stability and a listening ear. For a family that lives much of its life in the public eye, this grounding presence has been critical. Snoop's ability to provide comfort while maintaining his own composure highlights the emotional resilience required in times of crisis. Beyond Snoop and Cori, the family as a whole has had to confront the harsh reality of loss. Extended family members, including siblings, cousins, and close friends, have rallied together, creating a network of support that allows Cori to grieve without isolation. The public has seen glimpses of this solidarity through social media tributes, but the depth of these private interactions is something only the family truly understands. The tragedy also raises awareness about the challenges of parenting a critically ill infant. For 10 months, Cody's life involved constant medical care, daily monitoring, and emotional stress that most parents cannot even imagine. Every small improvement was a victory, and every setback was a reminder of how fragile life can be. Families in similar situations often describe a sense of emotional exhaustion that builds over time, a pressure that requires not only mental strength, but a strong support system to navigate. Snoop Dogg and Cori have shown remarkable resilience in this situation. While their grief is palpable, they continue to honor Cody's memory publicly and privately, demonstrating that love persists even in the face of loss. Moments of remembrance, whether through social media posts, memorials, or private family rituals, have become a way to keep Cody's short life alive in the hearts of those who loved her. Yet even with this support, grief is rarely linear. The family will face difficult days ahead, anniversaries, milestones Cody won't reach, and moments that are forever tinged with loss. But what this tragedy reveals is also a story of connection. Even in the darkest times, the bonds between parent, child, and grandparent can provide a source of strength that sustains a family through unimaginable pain.